In a world ruled by kings and queens, sculpted by wars and healed by the being known as the divine deity, the sacred globe harbors dragons and sinister forces that lay deep within the isolated and nightmarish forests, jagged and steep cliffs, and torturous and murky swamps that are sure to swallow you whole. In this bleak yet prosperous world, the kingdom of Atlas has reigned supreme for over hundreds of years, with its lauded ruler at the forefront, King Osas, alongside his beloved Queen Tanya, and their two children, Theodora, Princess of Atlas, and heir to the throne, Hector, the Prince of Valor. Hector has proven to be a worthy successor through leading countless battles, unchallenged, with his superior strength and wisdom in life that has led to numerous victories. His dashing looks simply captivate all that come across his path. A scar-torn warrior that received a slash across his eye during one of his prior battles with the relentless barbarians and the scheming goblins. Recently, Hector has reached the age where he is suited to rule the kingdom, and due to his father's poor health, he may take on that role sooner than expected, leaving him to continuously contemplate his own thoughts on his future. Princess Theodora, Hector's sister, of all the members of the royal family, her intellect was unmatched even by her predecessors. Her wit was quick, and her cunning nature contrasted her natural poise and elegance that the citizens of Atlas had expected from the royal family. Always looking out for the well-being of the kingdom, if something was amiss, she would take it upon herself to discover the answer, leaving no stone unturned until she had fitted every piece of the puzzle in its rightful place. Zeno, who is Hector's best friend and loyal knight to the kingdom, has recently grown estranged towards Hector as the prince reaches the age qualified to rule the kingdom. His mannerisms have become distant and arrogant, yet have devolved to a snake-like tongue when assisting the king. However, his romantic relationship with the princess has allowed him to remain complacent with his current position, as Hector is the only person that knows about the relationship between Zeno and Theodora, regardless of their status. After another fierce battle with the barbarians, thanks to Hector's leadership and Zeno's might, the kingdom is once again safe, for the time being. Just as they were planning to celebrate their victory and share their spoils, Hector and Zeno arrive back at the castle to some rather unsettling news. Our story begins when Hector arrives back from a glorious battle and goes to see his bedridden father with the queen alongside him. The king and queen discuss the future of the kingdom.
Father! Mother! I have returned back victorious from the battle!
Welcome back, son. Now tell us of the things that you fought for the past couple of days.
Ha ha! Oh, father, it was a fierce battle, one that wasn't taken lightly. They came in droves over the hills. As soon as the lights gleamed off their swords, they brandished their teeth. The horns echoed through the battlefield, and with a mighty battle cry, they charged at us. Their sheer numbers like a dark mist rising from the swamp and taking physical form. At that moment, father, I felt a cold shiver run down my spine like the steel of a blade. I felt the warm touch of an allied grasp on my shoulder. And it was Zeno, without a word, reassuring me that victory would be ours. And then we clashed. Arrows rained down upon us. Our men on horseback penetrated their defense and cut through the dark mist rolling through the battlefield, with Zeno by my side.
Well done, son. Well done. You have done the kingdom proud. The people can sleep soundly once again. Now there is something I must speak with you about. As you know, my many afflictions have caused my health to deteriorate, and so my reign must soon come to an end. And soon, my son, you will have to take control and bear the crown.
But father, is it not too soon?
This kingdom has many enemies, as you already know. Many are just waiting for the right moment to claim my head.
Father, I understand your fears, but I'm not yet ready. I'm sure Zeno's wisdom and experience makes him a better king than I.
I will still be here, but you must know that there is no much time left.
But father!
Silence! The king must rule alone and must be of royal blood. The sacred throne must not be tainted by a commoner.
Your father is right, Hector. Listen to him. We mustn't delay this any longer. Theodora and I will start preparing for the ceremonies at once.
Zeno overhears this exchange and begins to question his position. Then leaves and goes to see the princess, venting to her about his frustrations.
I cannot believe this! After all I have done for this kingdom, this is what I deserve? Not even a reward? And on top of that, to be spoken of as a commoner!
Oh, Zeno, I'm sure my father doesn't mean it that way. He appreciates you. He would never speak ill of you.
I am a knight, a loyal knight. I have been risking my life over and over again for the safety of this kingdom. How did I suddenly become a commoner in his eyes? After all the battles I won in the name of the kingdom, in the name of Atlus!
Had you not been deemed trustworthy by the king, you would not have been given the responsibility of leading such a big army to defeat our enemies. Think about it. I believe the king has a high position for you in his mind. I'm sure of it.
But how can he say that the throne must not be tainted by a commoner? Do you actually believe that I would dishonor the throne simply because royal blood does not flow through my veins?
No, I do not. I believe that you would be a phenomenal king, Zeno. You have fought side by side with my brother since you became a knight. Most of his battles would have been lost without you. If anyone knows your potential, it's Hector, and he will fight in your name as you have done so for him.
Whenever your father speaks of the throne, Hector still remains silent.
Be patient. Good things come to those who wait. The fate of this kingdom lies within your grasp, Zeno. Don't forget that.
Although comforted by Theodora's words, Zeno still required another outlet, that being his usual place to wallow, the drunken tavern, where he would meet someone that would become the catalyst of his unfortunate tale.
You show the kingdom its utmost loyalty. You spill blood in its name. And for what? All I will ever be to them is a knight, not of royalty, but of a commoner, who rose up the ranks with hard work and determination. The king would simply spit on my years of effort and training to solely protect the kingdom and cackle at the blisters and scars my body has now engraved in its flesh in order to not sully the name of this kingdom. 'Tis a mystery of why I was even raised to be a knight, if not to be just a pawn the king could use when he would see fit.
Why the long face, oh noble knight? Sounds like you've got yourself some troubles.
My apologies. I wasn't aware I was talking aloud.
Yep, quite the worrisome role you've been dealt. Or is it closer to the role that you should have had? Especially with that little trinket hanging around your neck.
Sir, your words are not quite clear with what you speak. Sounds like you may possess barrel fever, old man.
Yeah, I think I just crawled out of one.
Have a seat and steady your head.
Oh, don't mind if I do, young blood.
Don't tell anyone, but I've had this trinket since I can remember. Its odd shape has puzzled me, as there is nothing quite like it within the entire kingdom. It fascinated me, as if it was something I could truly call my own, after not knowing who I was. But once it was seen by the Osus, it was ripped from my neck and cast into flames. However, the princess with ash-covered hands brought it to my quarters once the kingdom was asleep to stop my soon-to-be sleepless night. I'll never forget that day.
Sounds like you fancy the princess, eh?
Yes, I mean, it's... don't worry about that. So, you may know the origin of my trinket, you say?
Know it? I have mine right here. Weirdly shaped and everything.
How is that possible that you have one in the same shape as my necklace?
You keep saying shape, boy. Don't you know what it's a shape of?
No, I don't.
Young man, do you mind if I tell you a story? There once was a place called the Kingdom of Hexagon. It was ruled to be a prosperous kingdom. It thrived through its gentle nature yet fierce army. Those were the glorious days. But this particular kingdom was doomed to fall. The king was killed, his army decimated by a powerful spell, and his child, well, some say he lays in the rubble of the old kingdom, while others say he was taken from his crib. Now, that trinket you carried around your neck is very similar to the symbol of Hexagon, and I can't help but notice the resemblance between you and the old king. Remarkable, ain't it? Had to go there for a minute, didn't I? Good story, wasn't it?
Yes, it was surely an interesting tale. But do you know of my necklace's origins or not?
Nah, I found it tossed out on the side of the road. Should go for a pretty penny if a knight like you has one, though, eh?
That's enough out of you, you drunkard!
But you know, I have lived long enough to know that eyes do not tell lies. And I've only got one! You're the spitting image of the king, truly. If you don't believe me, there are 3 witches in the dark forest, not too far from here. They are all knowing, or at least one of them is. They're really nosy about kingdom junk, but they saw the beginning and the end of Hexagon, so it wouldn't hurt to pay them a visit. Now would it, eh?
Yes, sure. Witches. And let me guess, warlocks exist too, do they? You've wasted enough of my time already, old man. Good night.
You have a good night now, you hear, Sir Knight? Or should I say, Your Highness? Don't go thinking too hard now. It might ruin ya.
For years, I've always walked in the shadows of Zeno. Together we fought side by side. We painted the walls of Atlus with the blood of our enemies and the sweat of our treacherous allies. who try to betray us, even when they know we are invincible. We are born rulers. How then can we find peace within ourselves if love is not giving a glimpse of hope to kill hate, or to say the least? Zeno is indeed a great fighter and bears the heart of a king. His swift and flawless movements makes me wonder if one can ever match his striking prowess. I bet no one does. As far as the safety of Atlus and the royalty is concerned, I will continue to fight side by side with my brother Zeno. Together, we will rule over this land, and we will continue to conquer our foes. But hold! What if I become king of Atlus? What would become of Zeno? What would be the fate of Atlus? I barely even weigh the wisdom of the past kings. Am I even worthy enough to lead the forces of Atlus when I can't even protect the royalty without Zeno's help? Oh, may my resolve be that of the steel blade. Well, I should have known that Zeno is the better and braver knight. No, never! I am Hector! I am a true knight and royal blood of Atlus. Loyalty runs through my veins. I will never back down on my obligations. I will protect Atlus and my family. The king raised me to be a ruler, not an underdog. For years I hid from the task set before me, but now I will and I must accept my fate, no matter the cost. I am Hector, Prince of Valor.
Having no memory of who his father was, apart from the vague stories occasionally regaled by the king of a knight killed in battle, Zeno dismissed the old man's revelations as nothing more than the laughable ramblings of a drunken old fool. However, something the old man said that night stayed with Zeno. Deep in thought, he twirled the pendant that hung around his neck between his fingers, a pendant that until now he had thought was nothing more than a little trinket he had found as a child. What had that old drunk said about this pendant being a symbol? Something had come back to him, a faint memory from his childhood. Had he seen this symbol before? And where? Was it in a book? Desperate to find the answers he was hungry for, Zeno begged Theodora to let him into the royal library, a place forbidden to all except the king.
Theodora, my love, you must get me into the library. I can't help but think that old man was trying to tell me something of my history. I must know the truth. I must know who my father was, who I am.
What is this about an old man? You know who your father was. He was a loyal knight to the kingdom who was slain in battle.
Then what of this pendant? The old man said it was a symbol for an old kingdom called Hexagon, one before Atlus. And I know I've seen it before. I'm sure of it. Please, my love.
Zeno, you know I can't. That old man doesn't know what he's talking about. And if my father caught us there, he would have us both.
Theodora, please.
Oh, all right. But only this once, okay?
Not wanting to anger him any further, Theodora reluctantly yet stealthily steals the library key from the king's chambers. Deep down, she knew Zeno needed answers. She knew he would not rest until he found them. She had promised to support him, even if this time it meant going against her father. When they entered the library, Zeno headed straight for a corner of the room where where the books all seemed quite old, some covers so worn, the titles were no longer recognizable. As he scanned his eyes over cover after cover, his fingers trailing across their spines, Theodora called out to him from the doorway she was guarding.
Please be quick, Zeno. What exactly are you looking for over there? Those books seem positively ancient.
It's all still very vague, but I remember many years ago as a child, watching from that doorway. His Majesty's servants helped to move these books into this library. I remember. One of them dropped a book. The spine broke. There was something on the cover. A picture? A symbol?
I don't remember any of that.
Of course you don't. You were just a child.
Zeno paused as his fingers caught on the broken spine of one of the old books. Theodora turned to Zeno just in time to see him lift a tattered old book off its shelf, his eyes wide as the cover revealed itself to him. Forgetting her post at the door, Theodora ran to Zeno's side to see what he had discovered. Neither of them heard the footsteps in the hall, drawing ever so closer to the library door.
Oh my god, Zeno! It's exactly the same.
He was right. The old man was right. It is a symbol. How did I not realize this sooner? It's in the same shape as the kingdom of Hex.
Theodora!
Ah! Father, you should be in bed.
What is the meaning of this? You dare defy my orders and enter my library without permission, and to bring this peasant with you. Out! Get out now!
I'm sorry, Father. I am so sorry, but we just needed to find...
Out! And as for you, you dare use my daughter as a tool to defy me. I may have made you a knight, but you will only ever be a peasant!
Angry at being referred to as a peasant, but terrified of the consequences of defying the king's orders, Zeno grabs Theodora's hands and flees the library, throwing the book to the floor, this time breaking it completely in two. Unaware of the quest the couple were undertaking, King Osas picks up one half of the broken book, immediately recognizing the symbol of the Kingdom of Hexagon on the cover.
No! I erased you! There shouldn't be no trace of this symbol left!
This was the moment he had dreaded, that the truth of the Kingdom of Hexagon was about to be revealed to all, and that Zeno would learn his true history, that he was not merely a knight.
Servants! To the library immediately! Find every book, every page, every letter with this symbol on it. Anything related to Hexagon. Burn it! Burn the whole library if you must! If the truth of Hexagon gets out, if Zeno learns the truth, no, I have kept this secret for this long. I will take this truth to my grave. This is my kingdom.
Cast out of the palace by Osas, Zeno wallows in his own self-pity, storming off from the kingdom for some fresh air. He rages at the thought of finally having the truth of his forgotten past within his grasp, only to have it snatched away from his fingers by that.
aggravating tyrant! To think it was right there! All my questions would have been answered by a single book that he has kept locked away from me for years! For my whole life! To think he would even yell at his own daughter! The princess of the kingdom! My beloved Theodora! He yelled at Theodora. That pure rage couldn't have spawned out of nothingness. That anger can only be forged by a deep, seething hatred. But for what? What could have caused such a furious fire to burn within a once noble man? Well, I would know if he didn't burn the books, that blackguard! Ah! What else is there left to do now but watch Hector be bestowed the crown and rule over Atlus, where he will inevitably run it into the ground? I'm sure the first thing he'll do is swing the crown around his finger and see if he can score a goal. Or he'll fraternize with all the women in the kingdom, like he doesn't do that already. But maybe one day he'll become a good king. Well, as long as Theodora and I remain by his side, of course. I should head back to Theodora. I'm sure she has begun to worry. What is this feeling of strain that has been brought upon me? Wait a minute. I'm starting to remember something. The old man. He spoke of witches that could be found in the dark forest, did he not? The witches.
After the library visit, Zeno barely says a word to Theodora when they discover the existence of Hexagon, so he decides to go out for some fresh air to clear his head. Still shocked about her father's truly violent rage, Theodora calls for Hector to visit her room to discuss her findings.
Hector! Hector, come quickly! There's something I must tell you. But promise me you won't laugh.
Okay. Theo, please! If this is one of your fantasy adventures, I do not have the time nor the patience to sit through this. Things are very delicate right now, and what I need is...
There's an ancient kingdom that was once on the very grounds we stand, and is somehow even older than Atlus. And that's not even the shocking part. Zeno, he's...
Theodora! I told you I don't have time for your nonsense! What's all this talk about ancient kingdoms and whatnot? What about Zeno?
Zeno's true past lies within the mystery of this old kingdom.
Theo! What are you talking about?
You know exactly what I'm talking about. Zeno never knew his father and was simply told that he was a loyal knight who died serving this kingdom. Have you ever wondered why, out of all the commoners, father was monitoring Zeno's progress with great interest? You're listening to me, but you're scared of something. What is it?
If what you're saying is true, then there's a whole lot more I don't know about Zeno. Everything's so frustrating. Gosh, I just hate being so...
You hate feeling like things are out of your control, even your own life. Imagine how Zeno has been feeling all these years. This isn't a matter of if, Hector. It's a matter of how. The normal books and maps in the library didn't give us any information, but as soon as we entered the royal library,
What? You broke into the royal library? And who's this way you speak of?
It was Zeno and I.
Zeno would never stoop so low.
I had once thought so as well. But Zeno's appearance before me was not that of a royal knight, but that of an angry child, lost and confused in this big world. He was desperately searching for answers, so he pleaded for me to let him in. He begged me. And once we entered the royal library, we discovered a book containing the same symbol that hangs around his neck.
Are you talking about the trinket? The father ripped from his very neck? The ones that was cast to the flames and never seen again?
Yes, the very same. Once the fire died out, it remained, still glowing within the ashes of the burnt wood. I retrieved it from its once thought of resting place and took it back to Zeno. He was overcome with joy and let tears fall down freely from his face, and that trinket was the only thing Zeno retained of his past, and Father just simply wished to destroy it.
So father knows this symbol and its connections to Zeno's past?
Yes, I believe so, as Father set all the books that bore the symbol aflame in another burst of unrelenting rage.
Father did what?
He was simply terrifying. I've never seen him in such a state of hatred before, and all for that one symbol.
It's almost as if he was trying to hide something.
I also believe that's the case, but why? And what does it have to do with Zeno?
It seems like father may have some skeletons in his closet.
What are you insinuating, Hector?
Nothing, Theo. I must consult father about this. Zeno is my dear friend and your beloved. But if he's to have ill will towards him, then we cannot let this stand any longer.
Do you really think he'll all of a sudden open up about decades worth of secrets? You should know our old man by now. He's proud and will not allow himself to be caught in a mistake, past or present.
It's worth the try, Theo. If you know our father at all, you know he values honesty and loyalty above all else.
Welcome, Knight of Atlus. You have journeyed far into the dark forest. You would have made for a good snack for the night creatures. But fate obviously wanted you here.
Indeed, sister. The fates deemed you worthy enough to stand in our presence. My all-seeing eye spotted you even before you entered the forest. You're a very interesting one, knight. What do you seek of the trifecta witches?
Trifecta witches. I seek something of great interest. An ancient kingdom called Hexagon. Rumors have it that even the greatest of scholars don't have access to this information. Most believe it is a myth. I hope you witches live up to your reputation and are able to grant me what I seek.
The human seeks our help and is acting so high and mighty. You should be groveling, Sir Knight. What you seek comes at a price.
I'm not some foolish suckling. I came prepared. I will reward you generously.
How generously?
Name any precious stone, and I shall give it to you in its thousands.
Very well. There is a dragon deep in the cliffs of Hebron, a fearsome thing with no liking to humans. In its lair, you'll find lots of gold. We will take that as a payment for our assistance.
Ooh, gold! I can use that to find the ingredients for my new potion.
But I have gold! Lots of it!
The gold I speak of buried in the dragon's lair is not the gold humans have come to know.
It is a special and rare type that is made with dragon's fire.
Dragon's fire?
Indeed, mortal. Listen to Far. She knows it all. Now, what was the ingredient that I wanted to include in my potion? Was it this one? Oh, silly me. It's this one.
Quiet! A little silence would do us some good, sisters. Now, Sir Knight, I do not require payment. What I wish to receive is a simple answer after you learn of your past. Do we have a deal?
I would never dare make a deal with the devil, but if it is to learn of who I really am, then it's a deal. What do you know of my past, witch?
The kingdom of Hexagon. Such a very sad tale. It was an ancient city, drawn from the kingdom of the supreme deities. The oral accounts of this kingdom are locked away in secret, as you have come to know. You have been told that the kingdom of Atlus has reigned supreme for hundreds of years, right? The throne being passed down through the royal bloodline. And King Osas, well, he has ruled over for 50 years with an iron fist. But that is one big white lie. You see, Osas was never meant to be king. He was meant to scrub the floors, clean the stables, and sweep the chimneys, being covered in muck from head to toe. But unexpectedly, Osas was a dreamer. He wanted more out of his pleading, pathetic peasant life. He knew he couldn't possibly achieve this feat himself, so he came to us, just as you have done yourself. What he wanted wasn't merely money or status. What he wanted was power. Enough power where no one would get in his way. Enough power where money and status were a given. The pebbles they used to trip him over as he would sweep the streets would crumble to dust before his mighty presence. And it's such a shame, really, that the only pebble left to trip Osas over was the very place he once served. Hexagon.
Oh, this is my favorite part.
Using his newfound power, he laid waste to Hexagon's army, claiming head after head. The king of Hexagon, your noble father, Darius Sir Knight, was the final obstacle in Osas's path to a better tomorrow. So he tore the palace asunder, destroying everything around him and finally ridding himself of Darius once and for all. Osas was free of scouring the dirty streets like the peasant he once was. Free to rule the land as he would see fit. Free to sit atop the royal throne. However, of course, his plan couldn't have gone without a hitch. The cries of a baby stung his ears. It was so helpless, frail and alone, just like he once was. And what of the child, you may ask? Well, he was, of course, taken in by Osas. He felt terrible for the act he had committed. Osas took the child in so he could keep an eye on him, watch him from afar, to ensure he would never remember a fragment of his past. And just in case, like the coward he was, he destroyed any evidence of the name and symbol of Hexagon. It was easy for him. All he did was cast a spell that would erase the memories of all who dwelled within the once great kingdom. A simple spell, really. From this moment on, he'd be known as the King of Atlus. So, my dear Sir Knight, what is your answer to this tale of injustice that has yet to meet its end?
There is only one thing I know I must do. I must bring an end to Osis's reign and free Hexagon from its shackles!
I was hoping for a more dramatic answer, like, I will destroy Atlas. But this will also suffice.
So, we could have got more of the dragon's gold out of this fool. Now he will just do as he pleases.
Yeah, I could have gotten more gold for my potion, sis. Why'd you just tell him about his past?
Because he requires power. You, Sir Knight, will need powers for that. And we are happy to grant you those powers. Right, sisters?
Right.
As much as I hate to admit it, you heathens are right. I will need much more than my cunning wit and strength to take back my rightful throne. So what sort of foul trickery do you have up your sleeves?
Oh, I have a classic one. You will take the poison and present it to the king as a medicine.
And you will tell them of a great fire-breathing dragon that guards the certain herb that will make more of the medicine.
Right. I'm sure they'll believe that dragons are still alive.
Anyone and everyone would trust the wounded man.
What do you mean? Ah! You traitor!
Relax, Sir Knight. You'll be able to make it back to the palace to set your plan into motion. I just made it more believable.
Before I leave, what about Hector? I know for sure he will stand in my way.
We'll just send him to the actual dragon. That'll kill him for sure.
You mean to tell me that they are still dragons?
Yes. Monstrous, terrifying, and fire-breathing dragons that are sure to make quick work of this Hector.
I see. Yes, this will work. Okay, witches. If anything goes wrong, I will have your heads. Do you hear me?
But of course, Sir Knight, we expected nothing less.
Foe? Isn't that dragon a big old wuss?
Yes, there's no possible way Hector will die. In fact, he'll go back to the kingdom and confront Zeno. Oh.
All I wish for is chaos, Fa. Fee, you should know this. Osas escaped my clutches much too quickly and hid himself in that stupid castle. But with the help of Zeno, I'll have him in the palm of my hand once again, begging for power.
So don't think it too hard now.
As Zeno stumbles back towards the palace, Foe reveals her true nature and chaotic interests, which could spell devastation for both Zeno and Atlus. Meanwhile, Hector and Theodora, now questioning their kingdom's past, go to confront their father and mother and demand answers for his recent outbursts of anger towards Zeno.
Father, mother, The time for lies and deceits is over. What do you know of the ancient kingdom?
What is the meaning of this?
You must tell us at once.
Theo, what are you shouting for? Where has this sudden aggression sprouted from?
Father! You know exactly what we were speaking of. To deny us any longer won't sully your years of loyalty and honor.
Then what of this symbol?
Where did you get that?
I drew from memory, from the books you burned in the library.
Theodora!
Theodora! What remains of Hexagon shall remain forever buried.
Darling, what has just come out of your mouth?
Father! Father, what is this hexagon you speak of?
So it is true. This palace, this kingdom?
Yes, this kingdom's true name is Hexagon.
No, there is much more you're not speaking of. You've held your tongue for this long, only for a simple change of our kingdom's name. I don't believe it.
Believe it, my child. That is all I'm willing to speak on this matter.
Father, you will tell us the truth. Not only do we have it right, but I will be king someday. But if that throne has been tainted with blood without good reasons, then I will never sit on the throne of lies.
You dare question me, boy? You dare question a king?
I question a man that has almost succumbed to his illness. I question a man that has eaten secret for my entire life. I see no king before me.
Very well. I see now that I have turned my family against me. The one thing I wished not for this world was for you to find out the truth and forever see me as a devil. I have sinned in this life countless times, and when I visit life after death, it will be a freezing journey. I will be alone. However, before I pass on from this mortal coil, I will tell you of my greatest sin, that being Hexagon.
Are you sure, dear? Do you believe it is time?
Yes, my love. They have waited long enough.
All right.
I was but a young boy, filled with dreams of not wealth or status, but power. I was a peasant. I couldn't hope to have my dreams fulfilled. I would spend the day sweeping the streets and cleaning the stables covered in muck from head to toe. As the day began to end, I wasn't treated poorly. I knew the royals quite well. In fact, as I used to play with the once great King Darius, he was once my best friend. But one day, his father, the king, saw us playing together. The horror on that man's face sent shivers down my spine. To be looked at with such disgust, with such hatred, made my blood run cold. I was bitten almost to death. A royal such as Darius should never have been my friend. My existence was simply one that was meant to fade away and not bask in the rays of the royals. Darius pleaded to his father to let me leave. His father only agreed if we were never to see each other again. That was the last time I saw Darius until he was king. During that, I had begun to spoil. I became greedy and stole from the rich constantly to satiate my desires. And one day, I was feeling especially hungry for the feeling of gold and went after the royal carriage as it was trotted by my street. I got caught, and the person that apprehended me was none other than Darius. I had seen my friend again, my best friend. He didn't recognize me, and when I told him my name, he slammed his fist across my face and yelled at me to never say that name again as tears rolled down his face. It had seemed that his father had told him I had passed on in the winter from the injuries he had given me. To Darius, I was dead. I no longer existed. I was alone. I was no longer patient for my dreams to come true. I needed power, and I needed it now. Call it a stroke of bad luck or good luck, but I met an old man, a drunken old fool. He appeared to listen to my woes. However, his nature would quickly become sinister as I talked about my need for power. He told me that my very dream from childhood could become a reality if I visited the dark woods and talked to the beings known as the trifecta witches. I visited these beings. They talked about potions and spells. One of the witches was quite menacing in both appearance and character. She was the one that granted me my wish. Finally, it was time to rule. So I laid waste to the palace, only wishing to take its throne, and so I was blindsided and had slain everyone in my part, including Darius. I became a monster. I am a monster.
Father,
Zeno has been found wounded outside the gates! Come quickly!
Zeno! Zeno! What's happened to you? How have you been wounded this badly? Who did this to you?
Hector, is that you?
Yes, my friend. It's I, Hector.
I went in search of a medicinal herb that would hopefully cure the king. I heard rumors of this herb, so I decided to search within the royal library.
Zeno, you know you're not allowed in there. What if father had caught you?
What I found in those books was a tale about a dragon who guards the most precious gold, silver, and other valuables. And of course, the herb.
A dragon? A dragon, you say? But it's written that they all died off years ago.
That was my conclusion as well. So I went off to its supposed cave, and what I found was a living, fire-breathing dragon.
That's impossible.
I'm afraid it is true, my friend. It still guards the herb. It firmly remains in its fiendish clutches. I tried with all my might to keep it at bay, but it slashed through my iron shield, scattering it across the ground like shredded ribbons.
So I see he's truly a fearsome creature. One not to underestimate or take lightly, like a common boar.
Yes, to compare it to a boar would be idiotic.
Zeno, Where is this dragon? I will go and kill it at once.
Did you not hear me? Oh, see what it has done to me. It is not to be trifled with. It is not your battle.
No! As soon as it laid a scar across your body, my friend, it became my battle. Simply for revenge. I will not take these atrocious actions lightly. I will cleave off his head and bring it back in your honor. I will bring back the herb you speak of and cure father of his terminal illness.
If this is truly your course of action, then take heed, for this beast is full of trickery and possesses a cunning nature. It will lure you into a false sense of security by not approaching you at first and acting aloof. It fooled me completely as I went to grab the herb, and then suddenly I felt the heat of 1,000 suns begin to scorch my back. I was then quickly thrown into a life or death battle.
Please save your energy, Zeno. You've risked too much. Take rest, my friend. Please.
I was willing to take that risk. This kingdom needs a king. It is my duty, as a knight, to serve this kingdom well.
Quickly, send him to the palace and have the royal doctors treat him on my order.
Zeno gets lifted up and taken inside the palace and displays a slight grin as he is finally within reach of completing step 1 of his master plan.
I must ready my shield and blade. This will be a fight like no other. What that creature has done to my friend will not go unpunished.
And so, this is where we'll leave this story, as all parties for now are preparing for their life-changing roles. Seeking revenge and a cure for his father's illness, Hector, the Prince of Valor, has gone off to fight the malevolent dragon that has struck down Zeno, leaving him a wounded knight within the confines of the palace.
However, the wounded Zeno's plan is coming along swimmingly. Hector is marching off nobly to his untimely demise. Osas is in plain sight, ready to be tortured in oh so many ways. But of course, the noble Zeno doesn't want to hurt anyone, so he decided that he would just poison him instead. Boring! Well, as long as it gets the job done. Let there be chaos. And that little Princess Theodora, well, she has piqued my interest, you might say. But that is a tale for another day.